Conor McGregor wants to be the president of Ireland. If still some of the McGregor fans wants to believe that he wants to fight, you might want to wake up and smell the coffee. That man is not fighting anytime soon. He is not stepping into the octagon again. He has too many distractions in his life, and most importantly, he has made enough money for himself to call it a day. It's the occasional urge that leads him to say that he's making a grand comeback, but the reality is something else. Dana White and the UFC have been waiting for almost a year for Conor to come back, and still they haven't got a date yet. It's simple. He doesn't want to fight. He's mentally not in the right space to make a comeback, especially after the injury he suffered. And at the age of 35, he's not going to get any better. He has had one win in the last 5 years, and all his prime years are ahead of him, and inactivity is a huge factor in MMA. In a sport filled with killers, once you step away, you simply can't get back that rhythm. Sparring is not fighting, and mind you, he got beaten bad in his last couple of fights. The Habib fight took away his soul. He hasn't been the same fighter since. Habib just beat his brakes in and made him quit before the entire world. It was the highest grossing UFC pay-per-view ever, and the whole world saw McGregor tap after saying some of the most vile things in the build-up to that fight. Not only could he not back it up in the ring, but he was rendered helpless by Habib. If Habib took his soul, Dustin Poirier took his spirit. After tapping to Habib, Conor got knocked out by Dustin. Once again, it was a pretty one-sided fight, but Dustin dug in and knocked him out. The humiliation was complete, some would have thought, but no, Conor wanted to have a trilogy, and Dana White agreed as well. This time he went after Dustin's wife in the press conference, with some of the most nasty insults ever. To prove his superiority, he went after another man's wife. Even some of the most loyal McGregor fans must have been disgusted by some of the things that he said. But there is something called karma, and once again, Dustin beat him to within an inch of his life before he eventually broke his foot at the end. Still, he was raving and ranting at the end of the fight. It was one of the most disgraceful acts from a former champion ever. People of Ireland, is this the guy you want as your president? Ireland doesn't have many stars to boast about, but it must have some people with morals and virtues. That nation will be doomed forever if they choose McGregor for president. As it is, he is the laughing stock of the MMA community. How ironical that the biggest star in MMA hasn't won a fight in the last 5 years, and two of his biggest paychecks have come in losing causes. Losing to Mayweather, getting beat up for 10 rounds in boxing, and then tapping to Habib in MMA. The truth is, at the biggest stage, under the brightest lights, against the top opponents, McGregor has lost. So perhaps he thought then about fighting Michael Chandler. Chandler is the biggest loser in all of this. He has wasted 1.5 years of his career waiting for Conor. He always shouts, "See you at the top." His top is McGregor. Try remembering any other fighter being so desperate to secure a money fight. Chandler must be seriously wanting that red panty night. After coming from Bellator, the only notable victory that he has had is over Tony Ferguson, who was on the decline. He lost to Gaethje, he lost to Oliveira, and he lost to Poirier. So now it's a battle of the glorified losers. And if somehow one-legged Conor manages to knock Chandler out, then Michael won't have a career anymore. His career would go up in smokes. That is still a remote possibility. Chandler should still win, but the only problem is that he doesn't use his head in fights. Both of them gas out after round one. Chandler more so than Conor. So it will be a one round shootout probably if it ever happens. At this point of time, does anyone in their right minds think that Conor McGregor is coming back to the octagon? You will be absolutely be a die-hard McGregor fan to even consider this fact. Even Dana White, Conor's biggest supporter in the UFC and outside of it, isn't sure himself. Otherwise, he would have booked a date by then. Let me know in the comment section what you feel. And if you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel.